And we'll get started in just a few minutes once people get a chance to come on. I know, Elisa, we had a session this week when people were saying what they're excited about, and people were like, Terra Madre. So I think there's a lot of excitement to hear the plans in the works. So looking forward to that.
Great. High expectations then.
That's right. You have it all figured out, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Nothing complicated about planning an event during a global pandemic.
We just need to finalize few details.
Yeah, just a few things.
But glad to see many of you tonight. Well, today, not tonight. It's night for me and Eddie, not for you.
Yeah, Eddie's coming in at 9 p.m. So thank you, Eddie, for the late night to join us here today. It's always hard with time zones to get like Hawaii and Uganda. It's a wide range.
I always get time zones very wrong.
I know. Then we throw the spring, you know, fall, the what am I saying? The hour change, fall back and everything, and we fall back at a different time than Italy. It's very confusing.
Yeah. I'm happy that I'm here. I'm happy to see everyone.
Great. So as a few more people come on, just a reminder to drop your introduction in the chat so Elisa and Eddie can see who you are. I'm very excited to start this session about Terra Madre 2022 and Slow Food International Strategy. As most of you, I hope, know, Slow Food USA is a national association in the global movement of slow food, and the headquarters is based in Italy, where Elisa Demichelis is based, and Edie Mukiibi is one of the vice presidents of the Global Slow Food Network. So I'm excited that both of you are here today to give us a sense of the global picture of slow food, where we are, where we're going, and all about Terra Madre. So Elisa and Eddie, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Anna, for the introduction, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining this session. Eddie and I would like to start by giving you an overview of the strategy and the main objectives and areas of work. So I'll start by sharing a presentation so that I can hand it over to Eddie so that he can guide us and lead us through it. And then we'll pass on for the second part on Terra Madre and the exciting news that we can share with you all. So Eddie, just 1 second, I put the presentation on, so and then it's all for you, Eddie.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, everybody who is attending this session today. It's already night where I am and also where Elisa is, but we are always happy to meet such brilliant people from the Slow Food family, from the Global Slow Food Network. I'm Edie Mukiibi. I'm currently the Vice President of Slow Food International. I stay in Uganda, where I also coordinate all the slow food activities in the country, and also leading a team of young, enthusiastic slow food activists who are also working throughout the country. Like you may know already, like what Elisa has said, Slow Food is a global network of local communities. We are actually a more grassroots movement throughout the entire world than before. Slow Food has moved into more grassroots activities than before, working with more communities in 160 countries with over 1 million activists who are pushing for the change in the global food system for better. And we are implementing over 10,000 projects in these 160 countries. So in these these are the countries where slow food have, as a movement, has an activity or a project or an activist or a community that is actually working to change the food system from within. We've all gone through these dramatic 2 years or few years ago that have passed. We don't know when the pandemic will be over or when this situation will be over, but for us as Slow Food, these years of the pandemic have actually revealed to us the strength of the communities and the resilience of our communities. We've been hearing a lot of news from the communities, how they are coping up with the situation, how they are actually continuing to fight to overcome this global crisis, not only the crisis of the pandemic, but also the climate crisis, the socio-economic crisis, the political crisis in countries like Afghanistan, in countries that have gone through, even in Congo right now. So our communities are very resilient. They are working together, and food is most important. Food is central to these communities and also to the survival. And we are actually working on the right subject that is controlling many, many other aspects of human life. So this has shown us that this is actually, as a slow food movement, wherever we are, wherever you may be, this is the right moment for all of us to intensify our actions in USA, in Uganda, in Kenya, Japan, everywhere you may be. This is for us the right action, the right moment to intensify our actions. This is when the world needs to hear from our work as Slow Food, to renew our commitment to our global movement. If we need to support communities in other parts of the world, communities in Philippines, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, this is the moment we need to intensify these actions and increase our efforts towards building a stronger and resilient food system, a strong and resilient movement to build that global food movement, which we are looking at. And actually, like I always say, that our strength is very important when we are together. We are very, very strong when we are together. One of our actual vision is a world where every person, every human being on the planet is guaranteed of good, clean, and fair food. We envision a world where each and every human being has access and can enjoy good, clean, and fair food. And that's why we work with all the communities globally without leaving anyone of the different socioeconomic status, anyone of a different political view. We are all working together as a global network of local communities to guarantee that every human being has access to good, clean, and fair food. So this is this is the world we envision. And to reach this vision, Slow Food, our network of global, our global network of local communities, wherever we are actually reorganizing ourselves around 3 main strategic objectives. The entire network of Slow Food is reorganizing around these 3 very, very strategic objectives to reach this world where everyone has access to good, clean, and fair food. We need, first of all, to defend our biological and cultural diversity. This is one of the main pillars on which the Slow Food movement is built. This is one of the main objectives of the Slow Food movement, of our actions to defend biological and cultural diversity. This, I will break down them down and give a few clear examples, but as we all know, we have many, many different projects which aim at preserving biological and cultural diversity, which I will talk about later. Sorry, Ellie, we can go back and I first introduced the two other strategic objectives of slow food. When you look also throughout all our activities globally through our network, you find there are so many educational activities, so many educational events going on, aiming at sensitizing and creating this awareness about the way we see food, the way we treat food, the way we handle food, the way we think about food. So this brings us to the second a strategic objective of slow food: to educate, inspire, and mobilize citizens to change their behaviors towards food production, towards consumption, towards handling food, and also how we think about food in our communities locally, regionally, but also internationally. The third and also very important strategic objective of slow food, around which our network is also organizing globally, is to influence policies in the public and private sector. This also has something to do with protecting the many grassroots projects which we have done, some of which could not be captured in the local policies, but we need them to thrive and survive for so long, and to protect the communities that do this kind of work. So we need to talk to those with power. We need to talk to the private sector to influence their programs, their funding, and also investment priorities, such that they are not destructive to the communities, to the society, and also they do those actions which lead to a more sustainable food system that will guarantee good, clean, and fair food for all. Now I will go and briefly go through individually some of these strategic objectives and try to bring out a picture how they have been implemented and how they are being implemented at the grassroots level. Talking about defending biological and cultural diversity as one of the main pillars, this actually is not, these are not new objectives. This is not a new thing. This is what Slow Food has done. Even the creation of the Slow Food Foundation for Biodiversity in 2004, this was the main objective: to defend biological and cultural diversity. It's not about defending the products, but also defending the societies, the communities that work with these products. Some of these communities are under threat. Some of them are endangered. We need to protect them together with their knowledge and also the products which they have. Some of the actions, some of the activities we have under this, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, is the Arc of Taste and Procedure, the community-based biodiversity conservation programs involving indigenous peoples, involving people from different communities, protecting and defending food products that are at risk of extinction. It starts with creation and sharing of this, the knowledge about these products through the online catalog, that is the Arc of Taste. So far, more than 5,000 products are on the Arc of Taste, and many procedures have been created for this purpose, to defend and promote this biodiversity, but not only the products, but the knowledge, the quality, the cultural values of these products, and also the societies or communities which are working with these products. The Cooks Alliance is also one of the projects or activities which is helping to preserve biodiversity. Some of the products, they can best be protected by putting them on the menu, and the Cooks Alliance is doing this perfectly. So we need to work hard to develop the Cooks Alliance and also bring more ARC products on the menu, as well as more Procedure products on the menu, and the feedback from the cooks help the producers to improve the quality and also learn how to work better with these products. Same thing with the earth markets. So far, there are quite a lot of earth markets being created. These are simply farmers markets which are following the slow food principles, the slow food philosophy, and mostly Presidia, ARC, and other local indigenous products are sold. We are even launching 2 new markets in Uganda this year, in addition to the 3 which we have, and also we are launching new markets in Kenya, and the world over. There are many, many markets in Europe and in other parts of the world. The point in these markets is to preserve biodiversity, but also to bring those who are preserving biodiversity closer to the consumers or co-producers, such that they can share this vital knowledge about these products and also have this important feedback on these products. Slow food travel is another project which also brings the territories closer to those who want to explore and understand the food culture, the food traditions, and the local food systems in different territories and areas where biodiversity is being threatened, and at the same time, there are communities working hard to protect this. Other thematic areas, or what we call thematic campaigns like slow beans, slow meat, the Coffee Coalition is also another important way of preserving biodiversity. Globally, all the coffee is threatened. Coffee farms are turning into real housing estates in Kenya, in Uganda, in Malaysia, and other different countries. So we need to protect the coffee biodiversity. The slow beans is also working to promote and protect the bean biodiversity, plus many other like slow fish, slow olives, slow wine. All these campaigns aim at preserving biodiversity. So this shows that this is not a completely new invention in terms of a strategic objective. We're actually reorganizing ourselves and reorganizing our work around this theme of biodiversity. When it comes to education, there are many avenues through which slow food educates the public and also sensitize citizens through gardens like the celebrated edible schoolyard, school gardens in USA, school gardens in Europe, community gardens in different parts. When I was in New York, I visited some of the very important community gardens, also in Detroit. So these are some of the ways how slow food educates the public. Everybody needs this kind of food education. Nobody has enough education about their food. We need to do this continuously. And also in Africa, we have the slow food gardens in Africa. It's becoming a very important project. It's so big that we are now rethinking how to reorganize the project and how to bring in to bring on board new partners, new donors, because it's really a very important project for us in Africa. I've worked in this project in many countries. I've seen how important it is, and the testimonies we get from the field is also showing us that we are not doing the wrong thing, but we are doing the right thing for the future of the African continent. Education, showing people how the agricultural and food sector should be managed, working on agroecology, talking about food and local economies. We do this all through the slow food gardens in Africa. Sharing knowledge between the different generations, the elderly women and the children in schools, the men and also the youth in the communities. This is a perfect point to share this knowledge and keep it moving. Also educational kits and materials, which we use to organize educational events. Like in Uganda, we also organize the youth food camp every May to talk about different topics related to food and young people, food and environment, food and politics, and also invite also people from the legal sector to come and talk about food and law. So this is some of the activities we organize. And there are many examples globally, like in Germany working with soil. In Australia, there are also quite a lot of food education events which are organized around these educational kits and materials we get from our food education hub. Also talking about food and public health, this is also a very, very important activity under this strategic objective. So we need to organize more and more food and public health this sensitization or awareness creation events, more talks, more talk shows, more meeting points where we can discuss food and public health, because food is becoming one of the this public food and public health is becoming one of the most important topics which are contributing to the health crisis globally. We never thought that in Uganda we would be struggling with childhood obesity. In a country where we think there is malnutrition, again, there is a lot of childhood obesity in cities and towns. So this is why we need to address this issue. It's not only about malnutrition. Now it's becoming a question of undernutrition versus overnutrition, or child obesity and overweight in some of the African countries. And this is a global crisis, and we need to handle it right now and put it as part of our key strategic objectives to work on. And lastly, like I said before, we do a lot of work, grassroots work. We do a lot of advisory work. We do a lot of work at international, regional, national, and local level. But if we do not talk to those, what we call the duty bearers, those who draft policies, those who pass policies, many of these policies are not in favor of our work. Talk about the trade policies, free trade policies. Talk about the GMO laws in Africa, the GMO bills. We've been fighting GMOs in Uganda at the same time fighting GMOs in Burkina Faso, because we have the same template of the GMO bill, which wants to, the government wants to make a law, but it doesn't want, it's not actually regulating genetically modified organisms. It's actually intended to promote the growth and the expansion of the GMO products in the country. And we had a lot of issues. We had several meetings with the members of parliament, and also a meeting. One of the meetings I attended with the president, and we presented our issues, and this law, proposed law, was kicked out of the parliament, and the president refused to sign. And we are still watching this law. If it's brought back to the parliament, we will still pick up the fight. And this is part of our advocacy work. This is part of influencing the public and private institutions. We need to do this work quite frequently, talking about climate change, talking to the governments, not only the governments, but also multinational institutions, international institutions like UNEP. We've been organizing several, I participated in the African Climate Week as one of the key speakers, and talking about the slow food approach to climate change, how we are working through our agroforestry, agroecology, and also our approach to biodiversity, how we are fighting climate change. And we believe that these approaches, they can be included in the local climate change policies. Also, Slow Food has been active in the United Nations Food Systems Summit. We participated in the counter mobilization because we did not agree with the way the United Nations Food Systems Summit was organized. And then we actively got involved in the counter mobilization activities. We held a lot of sessions. We signed part of the African position paper. We authored part of the African position paper on the UN Food Systems Summit. And we presented a lot of communication materials, and also participated in a lot of local and international counter mobilization events. So also we do advocacy work at the EU level to talk about the national and international policies. Right now, Africa is thinking about the Common African Food Policy, and Slow Food Uganda has been selected to be one of the 7 lead organizations in the shaping of this policy. And I participate in these meetings together with AFSA, the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, Food Rights Alliance, and also the government of Uganda through the Prime Minister's office. So we are also trying to check that this food policy does not affect our work. It's not influenced by multinational corporations and also big agribusiness players and actors, and many other campaigns like on bees and other issues we are working on. So every activity that is carried on to influence the policies, to influence the private sector to do the right thing is part of our fight. It's part of our strategic objectives. And it's not limited to only these examples which are listed in this presentation. There are many, many other activities which we have mapped and which we can do together. And all these contribute to the good, clean, and fair food for all that we envision. This is a summary of our global strategy, and this is the direction Slow Food is taking. And I'm happy that we have this chance to talk to you, all of you, leaders and activists from different parts of the United States. And this is also something which we talk about when we meet other leaders from other parts of the world. And this is our future. This is our global strategy. This is where Slow Food is moving to. Thank you so much. I will hand over back to Elisa to take us through the next few minutes. Thank you all. Thanks for listening and thanks for following.
Thanks, Edie. Anna, Brian, do we want to stop for just a few questions in case, or should I go ahead with Terra Madre? What would be best?
Yeah, if we want to take a few questions, I think that's always nice. If anyone has a question to put into the chat for Edie. You can either hit the raise hand button in Zoom or put your question in the chat and we'll read it out. Elisa, maybe we can keep going, and if there's questions, we can come back at the end. So everyone, if you have questions for either Edie or for Elisa as she speaks about Terra Madre, just drop them in the chat. Thank you.
Okay. So moving forward and moving from what Edie as shared with us in terms of the global strategy, we see, as always, Terra Madre as one of the main opportunity for us to showcase and to bring to the attention of as many people as possible what we do globally, nationally, locally, and how our networks have been working and implementing the projects and the initiatives. So as many of you already know, because I see many faces who I've met in Terra Madre in person. Terra Madre Salone del Gusto is the largest international event that we do organize every 2 years as the event dedicated to good, clean, and fair food, and where we want to really showcase and to bring and to meet people who are directly involved in projects, initiatives, and build together with them the future that we all envision. Terra Madre and Salone del Gusto is a pretty long-lasting event with its first edition in 1996, with a very strong collaboration with of course Slow Food, the city of Turin, and the Piemonte region. Indeed, for us, Terra Madre is not just an event. Terra Madre is a meeting place where people, delegates, visitors, participants from all over the world come and exchange ideas, inputs, and they talk about food and different themes and thematics, even though they do not speak the same language, but in some ways, Terra Madre has always represented this melting pot and this meeting place and meeting platform for all our activists and for all our networks. So in 2018, we held the event in Turin, and in 2020, of course, unfortunately, due to the pandemic and to what was happening and what has happened, we transformed and the physical event that we were all familiar with into a 6-month journey of many different digital formats and digital events, combined with some physical local initiatives and an event organized by the International Slow Food Network. So starting from October 2020 to till April 2021, we held this 6-month journey, bringing the Terra Madre spirit and bringing Terra Madre into the different corners of the planet, and creating opportunities for the different networks and for the different communities to share what they were doing, what was happening there, and to involve them in online debates, online conversations, similarly to what is happening with the Leader Summit in these days. So to create, with the aim to create opportunities for our leaders, for our networks, but also for the general public, for anyone interested in knowing more, giving the opportunity to meet and to exchange, to discuss, and to share what was happening, even though a physical and an in-person meeting was not happening for Rio. So starting from the example and starting from the lesson learned from the 2020/2021 edition of Terra Madre, we are now working for this year edition in Turin again, but with an hybrid formula and with an hybrid framework to keep that accessibility and the possibility to people, delegates, and the networks, the communities who won't be able to travel to Turin this year, to still participate, to still contribute to the conversations, and to be part of the event from their homes, from their communities. So the 2022 edition, so this Terra Madre, wants to be as inclusive as possible, facilitating interaction between the people, the participants, the communities, the networks, the leaders who will be in Turin, with the communities and the leaders who will be in their homes and in their countries, but creating and fostering this Terra Madre spirit in a very strong way, allowing us also to create an event that will happen physically for 5 days in Turin, but that will be relevant and intentional with the messages that we want to share, both at the physical event in Turin, but also virtually and online through hybrid online digital components and digital formats events that will give the opportunity to as many people as possible to be part of Terra Madre, even though they won't be physically present in Turin. This blending of the two souls of the in-person and the online aspects is for us. We believe this could be a real asset and a real resource, because we learn from what Terra Madre has been in 2020, but we also believe in the importance of meeting people and meeting people and discuss with people face to face, and create that kind of relationships and connections that have always been a main feature and the main element of Terra Madre. Alongside with the theme of that Slow Food USA is also chosen to have for this year, the main theme, the common thread, the fil rouge of Terra Madre 2022 will be the theme of regeneration. So looking at ways in which slow food, but also our communities, our society have gone through the theme of regeneration, and how we and all our networks have regenerated themselves in these years. Terra Madre then would like to be the platform, and the opportunity also to bring their examples, real examples of regeneration, of resilience, of strength, of the strength that our communities and our networks have shown, not just in this past few years, but we really want to to give space and to give the opportunity to shed light on the work, the best practices, the achievements, but also the challenges and the topics that needs to be strongly addressed, both at local but also at national and international level, in order to create all together as a global community, but with local roots and with local strong ties and roots, a future that is in line and is going in the direction of creating the world where everyone has access to good, clean, and fair food. So we are, of course, in the first phase of thinking the event, which, as I said before, would be an hybrid event with both physical elements and components and digital ones. We are aiming and we are working to create once again, as in 2016, an event which is outdoor. So outside in the city of Turin. We are still looking and we are still defining which location will be, but in with the objective of being as accessible and as inclusive as possible. We want to create an event, and we want to organize an event where everyone, especially and also the people from Turin and from the neighborhoods can participate and can meet the people who will be there and will participate in conversations and discussions with leaders and representatives of our network. So we are envisioning and we are working to have Terra Madre at the end of September. We do not have dates finalized yet 100%, because Terra Madre is an event that is organized by Slow Food, but also in very close connection and collaboration with the city of Turin and the Piemonte region. So we need to find suitable dates for everyone, but with the fact that we would like and that we will organize the 2022 edition in outdoor. We, as it happened in 2016, we're opting to have the event in late September. The overall format of Terra Madre will, of course, remain more or less the same, with a marketplace component and an area with exhibitors, producers from probably mainly from Italy and Europe, because of the travel restrictions that we might still have in place at that time, and a program of conferences, meetings on several topics and several themes, which are of interest of both our network, but also for the public. As Edie was pointing out earlier, events are also, and as you know very well, events are a great moment and great opportunities to educate people and to provide them with informations and with tools that they can use to change, hopefully, in the right way, their behaviors and the daily choices that they can make. We'll also organize workshops and activities to educate and to share knowledge and to provide people with the key elements and the key messages that we will want to address. As in past editions as well, we'll be working and we'll be we will have the participation of delegates. This is still for us an uncertain, well, an area with lots of uncertainties because of the travel restrictions, the pandemic. So we will still have to understand how to organize the logistics of that participation in the best and in the safest possible way. But indeed, we are envisioning to have and will try to have delegates coming from our networks, representing our networks in its global and international nature. So the idea would be, and we will envision to have more information about the delegate selection process and the delegates process in general in the next weeks or so, so that starting from March till May or so, as we have done in past editions, we can work together with our networks to both identify and delegates, but also to organize moments and to organize meetings where we can share and we create a participatory process in which everyone, every community can participate and can bring forward and can share with the others what are the inputs and the suggestions that they would like to bring to Terra Madre with their presence, the physical participation at the event in Turin or not. For us, what it would be crucial is to create this kind of shared and open and inclusive process of involving and engaging our networks in the month leading to Terra Madre as well. So to create the content, to create what will be presented, discussed in Turin, in a shared and participated way. So we know that unfortunately, or probably, we won't have the large delegations, large delegations as we had in the in past editions of Terra Madre. But nevertheless, we would like and we want to ensure that the networks and the communities will have a say and will have a space to contribute to the conversations, to the debates and to the discussions that will be taken forward in Terra Madre as well. And of course, with the digital and the hybrid formula of the event, we would certainly do our best and will work really hard to make sure that the event will be accessible and will be co-created as well by those communities, those delegates, those representatives of the networks who won't be in Turin. So we'll do our best to create the connections between the physical event and our communities and our networks. Just as a final point of my presentation, again, big crowds as these ones in Torino in 2016 might not be possible to have again, but what we would like to recreate is this sense of belonging and this sense of community, both at international, global, but also at national and local level, through what Terra Madre could be.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Wonderful. We have a few minutes left here. If folks have questions, please put them in the chat. I have a few from before that I would like to get back to Edie. If Edie, you're still there. I know it's getting late. I appreciate you staying on to almost 10 p.m. here for you. Fernando was asking earlier, how do we vet child obesity programs against sustainability tenets of slow food? Do you have any thoughts on that? Tough question.
Yeah,
we hold both of those things. Mm-hmm.
It's a tough question, and all we can do, like what we normally do here, is to talk about agro-based nutrition, and to meet parents and organize events at school and talk about nutrition that is from the agricultural and biodiversity point of view. But this is a growing problem. Most of it is coming from lack of proper education about food and also what people eat on a daily basis and how they need to live, and also their adopted lifestyles, especially in this part of the world where we are. So basically, it's about working with this age group and also the parents to understand how and where they can get access to this information, and also if they need to get access to good, clean and fair, ecologically produced, diverse food, also we give this information. I don't know if I have answered the question, but I totally believe that the big solution lies in promoting agro-based nutrition in schools and also in the communities. Not only to work with the children, not only to work with the youngsters, but also to work with the parents and those with duty to protect the children.
Thanks, Eddie. I feel like that could be a whole panel discussion. There's a lot to unpack there, so I appreciate your thoughts on it. In the similar vein of complex conversations, I love this question from CEDAR. Let me just read her comment here. She said, hearing about how slow food is getting involved with unrest in places like Afghanistan, my question is, how do we as citizens of the country most responsible for this unrest and as global citizens of slow food get involved in a good way in supporting repair and healing in places where our government has caused unrest? And she wonders if those questions are being asked anywhere in the USA realm, or how we can relate that to the international slow food work. And Eddie, I'd love to hear, or Elisa too, your thoughts on this. I think this is another question that could use a much deeper look and analysis, but any responses to that?
The best thing we can do is not to go and start another political fight, but also to support the communities that are doing something positive down there. We have quite a lot of people, a lot of leaders who are being persecuted for doing the right thing. We need to support these communities. I think I understand Slow Food recently brought in a professor, one of our key activists from Afghanistan, and his family. They are now in Italy, and for me, this is the best slow food world could do. In this case, where we have leaders who are doing something interesting, but they are under pressure from the political persecution and all these kind of insecurities which they are facing. Slow Food came up and say, okay, we need to do something and have these this family evacuated and brought to Italy for safety. But this is just one isolated example. We have cases in Congo where there is now a war between Uganda and the rebels, the ADF rebels who are hiding in Congo. And many communities are being displaced, and I keep talking to our colleagues from Congo to stay strong. We have also, last year, we decided to take a risk to bring in 5 young leaders from Congo for the Slow Food Youth Academy in Uganda to show solidarity with them. And when they went back, they're actually doing great things there. They are reorganizing communities. They saw what we are doing in Uganda. And this is the Slow Food solidarity in this case. And we keep having meetings, online meetings with them when they can get to the internet. They recently organized an event, and Slow Food supported this event, even in times of trouble. This is the support which this kind of network can give to places like that. So, like I said, we are stronger together. We need to be together to support these communities, to support these activists who are facing this kind of trouble. Even talking to them, sending out a message of solidarity is very, very important. There are quite many ways. Slow Food Network is known to be a very creative network. There are quite many ways creative ways we can come up to join in solidarity with these communities, to link up with them. You can donate to the projects which these people are doing. You can donate to the safety initiatives which Slow Food is trying to do to make sure that some of our activists are actually safe from this persecution. So there are so many ways, there are so many things we can do as a global network of local communities.
Thank you, Eddie. And I want to underline that a good portion of membership dollars that come in from chapters go on to Slow Food International, a little more than half of those membership dollars. So being part of Slow Food, you're supporting the global movement, and we're trying to link all those communities together. Can we, okay, the question about slow food in the Middle East. Joseph is asking how active are we? Sarah is clarifying the Middle East network is a super complicated one. Sarah, do you want to talk about this, or Elisa, about slow food in the Middle East and North Africa? Elisa, I don't want to put Sarah on the spot. Do you want to just talk like broadly what's happening there? Oh, either one.
Oops. I don't know if you can hear me. This is Sarah.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. So yeah, it's a complicated situation in the Middle East for sure. But we have chapters that are very active. So, you know, in Palestine and in Egypt, in Morocco. So there are active chapters that are working on the ground. The challenge is coming together, having one united voice. This has been our challenge for the past decade. We've been trying in different ways. However, I will throw a little ratchet, which is that we only have one North African representative, and that makes it very complicated. I mean, on the board. And so, you know, a lot of countries around Africa and in the Middle East are really different from one another. And I know that Eddie's working really hard to increase representation, but we're still not that represented. And so it makes it hard to engage in conversations which are complex. You know, so a few years ago when we had Terra Madre in person, there was the Palestinian and Israeli booth, and there was a humongous issue that we had to kind of like deal with. They were side to side next to each other at Terra Madre. And, you know, these are the moments where we could create actual conversations and try to figure out pathways forward. But we haven't worked these things through. So I think there are opportunities, but it requires there to be more voices at the table to do that, I think. These are my 2 cents.
Well, thanks, Sarah. No, it's great to hear from your direct experience, and indeed, I think that the element of representation and of engagement and involvement of the local communities at the different tables and in different conversations is crucial. And over the years, and Eddie can witness this and can share some direct experiences. We've been working very closely and more closely to train, to give to try to engage local leaders and leaders at local level from the communities to run the projects, to understand what are the needs, and to collect the inputs from those communities directly. But indeed, there is still lots of room and lots of things that we can still do, and we certainly would like to work more on this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elisa and Sarah both. Tiffany has her hand raised. Tiffany?
Hi, I just wanted to say hello. My name is Tiffany Nurnburn. I am one of the international counselors, the US's representatives to the council. And as Sarah was saying, there is a governing group, or at least an advisory group of representatives from around the world that bring the conversation of the network to Slow Food International. And we, this group of counselors was appointed or elected in Chengdu in 2017 and has remained on until we have the opportunity to have a Congress and a delegation. But I know that there will be some changes happening with the council and probably some reapportioning of representation, but I imagine that there will also be some opportunities for other folks in the US to kind of rise up and take some of these positions. So if you're here, you're obviously interested in what's going on the international level, and start thinking about if maybe you would like to have a larger role in that conversation. And I will put my email in the chat. If you have any interest, I'd be happy to talk to you about my experience and answer questions as that kind of information about the process evolves.
Thank you, Tiffany. I really appreciate you jumping in with the International Congress and delegates. We are coming to time. I would love if everyone could fill out this survey that Brian put in the chat. It's really helpful for us to get some quick feedback from you. So just go ahead and click that link. It takes only like 2 minutes, I promise. And then Elisa, Edie, any closing words before we wrap up here?
A very practical one. If you have any questions, because I'm sure I haven't responded to all the questions and concerns that or doubts that you have on Terra Madre, and we still have many of them unknown at the moment, but we are working on them. But if you have any doubt, any questions, or even inputs and suggestions, please do write to me. Feel free to get in contact with me. I'll put my email in the chat. But Anna, Brian, and the Slow Food USA team has all our contacts. So we would love to hear from you and to see how we can make sure that this Terra Madre is a shared Terra Madre in its creation in terms of content, in terms of participation, and in terms of accessibility.
Thanks, Elisa. Edie, any last words?
And for me, this is a very important year in the history of slow food. It's a very important moment of transition in the history of slow food. It's a moment where we need to think about regenerating our movement, regenerating our activities. So I kindly request each of us to stick together as one global community, as one global family, and support slow food as the movement to go through this transition, and also to support slow food beyond the Congress 2022, and also to keep supporting the slow food activities locally, internationally, and also regionally. We are stronger together, so we need to stick together and work together and go through this important moment in the life of slow food, happy and triumphant together.
Thank you so much, Edie. Those are great words to end on. Thank you everyone for coming. Just a quick preview of the next few sessions. In less than an hour, we will be back on Zoom for Grants 101. We have a great consultant coming in to lead that session. Tomorrow we have a session where some chapter leaders will be talking about fundraising and what has worked at their chapters. Tomorrow we also have a slow fish roundtable. If you want to know about sustainable seafood, we have a great group of folks coming in for that. And tomorrow evening we have Policy 101. If you want to learn about how to deepen our commitment to food and ag policy in the United States. That's coming up tomorrow. Lots more. Brian put a link in the chat. Make sure you're registered, and we will see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.